Good morning, West Highland Way, day 5, and I am excited. I'm well ahead of schedule. Now, when I talk about being ahead of schedule, it's not that I'm going at a superhuman pace. It's well, when I was planning out the trip, I had all the topo maps, south to north, knowing I had 7 days of walking, 6 campsites. I just set markers for each day. What is the minimum distance I need to attain to really stay on schedule? And if I fell well behind that, I'd have to make other arrangements, whether it was a B&B, some transportation. But it was a very conservative pace that I set out for myself. I had planned for day 5 that I would end up around Blackrock, Cottage, King's House Hotel. Well, I'm at Bob Ridge now, and if you're familiar with West Highland Way, so that I'm just short of Blackrock Cottage. So that's fantastic. I was planning on taking just a leisurely pace on day 6 and day 7. I can take a leisurely pace today. I'm also well ahead on my camera batteries, so that's good news too. So today I'm taking it slow in the morning. It has not been a drop of rain, it's just the dew, the condensation that forms overnight. I'm going to let things dry out. I'm going to leave my dual mid up a little bit longer. Then I'll set out. I really want to see Blackrock Cottage. I've seen it before, but I'm going to be happy to see it via this trail. Then on to King's House Hotel. Devil's Staircase coming up. I'm curious about that. Living out by the Cascade Mountains in the Pacific Northwest United States, and climbing up is what I do. Doing these long distances is not such a common thing for me. I'm more of a polka dot jersey guy, not green jersey or yellow jersey. Though I suppose a polka dot jersey is for the guy in first place. That wouldn't be me, but you probably get the point. I'm curious to see how will Devil's Staircase feel after 75 miles or so of walking going up there. But from Devil's Staircase then on to Kinlochleven, and I'll probably set up a campsite around there. All right, I think what I'll do, I'm going to stay here a little bit longer and probably get some footage of the moor with some of the fog and the sunlight coming in. Okay. Finally, on day 5, I'm crossing paths with David Balfour and Alan Breck Stewart as they made their way through Glencoe and panning over to Rannoch Moor. This part of the novel incorporates the true events of the Appin murder, which the characters were innocent of, but they knew they were going to be hunted and charged with the crime. So they made their way through here, down to the lowlands, to Queensferry, and down to Edinburgh. Okay, this should be Blackrock Cottage, and I hope I had my notes correct. But Lady Scottish Climbing Club was established here in 1908. That time it was frowned upon for women to participate in activities like that. So I suppose it's a cliche, but they were trailblazers in several meanings of the word. This is the King's House Hotel, originally established in the 1770s. I'm filming from behind because there's a lot of construction going on the other side of the hotel. I'm not against staying here at some point. I don't know what the price is, but I know there's a bar in there. They have to serve cask ale if I'm going to pay the price to stay there. And this is probably Buckley Edivmore. I misidentified one much earlier on the trail. I just don't have topo maps that go all that far beyond the West Highland Way. I've certainly have plenty to get me along the way, but I can't identify all the mountains. Okay, I'm at the base of the double staircase. Zigzags up to that coal behind me. I'm going to take a break here, hydrate, then I'm just going to take it on. Alright, Devil's Staircase is done. It's tough, but it's reasonably short. As expected, didn't have my usual climbing legs after 75 miles of walking with my pack. I'm glad it's behind me. Okay, I'm now looking north on the backside of the col, the other side being the Devil's Staircase. We should be looking at the hills along the Great Glen, and as I pan to the west, we'll end up seeing what I believe is just the very top of Ben Nevis. That's really basically the destination. The base of that, and Fort William is at its foot. I'm going to take a break now, hydrate, and then on to Kinlochleven. I'm approaching Kinlochmore and Kinlochleven. From the top of Devil's Staircase to here is a long downhill walk, so just take it easy and be careful with your steps. At this time, I'm going to start looking for a suitable campsite. Okay, gear talk. Today is packs and poles. Let's start with the pack. Mountain Laurel Designs, MLD, Profit. I believe the capacity is 48 liters. I was deciding between the Exodus, which is larger, or the Prophet, and I decided to go ahead with the Prophet. I was afraid I'd be tempted to try to pack up too many things if I had a little extra space. I did buy some accessories, shoulder strap bags, 2 different types, waist strap bags. This holds my InReach Explorer. I keep my aqua mirror in here because I bring that out often, the day's snacks in here. I also have the lid, which adds, let's say, 400 cubic inches or so. Typically keep my maps in here, and keep the beef jerky in here because that package is too big for the pockets, and whatever else I might need. If it might rain, I might have my rain pants here, and if I can fit it in, my rain jacket in here. Before getting this, I spent a lot of time looking for the perfect waterproof pack. A lot of time. Online, going to REI, going other places, looking at them, never satisfied with what I was hearing. And eventually I came across just a lot of people online going back and forth and say, don't bother, it's not worth it. And so that never occurred to me, and I'm a slacker, just quit. And so I stopped doing that, and initially I had a 15-gallon trash compactor bag. And that worked very nicely, I did like that. But I moved over to some of these Cuban fiber dry bags. This one has a snap top to it. It was actually the one in my sleeping bag and sleeping pad. I've got others with zip tops, just the cube shape is easier for my first aid kit and things like that. And I did that. I mean, the trash compactor bags worked great. It weighed, the bag itself probably added another 4 ounces to my pack. But I liked to be able to separate things out, and for bags to have similar things or things I would at least need at the same time. So I prefer this. And Cuban fiber is very light. And then I also carry this. This is actually a dry bag. You could bring this kayaking. This is the Aquapack SLR bag. And my camera just fits right in. It's big enough that I can keep the external mic on and just drop it right in here. The weather's been perfect, so I've actually been keeping my maps in here. If it was raining, I would not do that because I open up the map, I get the maps out a lot, and I wouldn't want to expose the camera to that. But the weather's been perfect. It's been nice to have this. I have a harness and wear the Aquapack on the front, just reach in and get my maps. Now the poles, I think, will be ones that people here in Scotland, the UK, Europe, they're probably familiar with it, but not so many people know them in the States. I use pacer poles. I've already broken them down. The big difference with pacer poles is the handles. Kind of grip them like this, and as you walk, kind of your arm is bent usually like a 90-degree angle. As I get older, I found I need to think about my knees a bit more, and this puts a little bit more of the work on the forearms and the triceps. This one has this handle has a camera mount on it. I can just take this out and there's a little plug that goes in, but I often, when I'm doing kind of those long shots, I'm holding this out with the camera on it. I've been very pleased with it. These are not light, they're not cheap, but typically at the start of the hiking season, early spring for me, I have a little bit of tightness around, in the tendons around the knees. It didn't happen at all this year. Now, having said that, I did a lot of off-season conditioning on the bike with some weights. So I can't say for certain that's because of pacer poles, but I have been happy. It works for what I'm doing. Other thing they have, and I thought this was brilliant, because I've always struggled with gloves when it's cold and raining, is they basically have pogies available. If you've done kayaking, you know pogies, which I like. My hands don't need to be dry, I just don't want them to be cold. And they refer to these as overmitts. This is an add-on you have to pay for. And this just pulls right up and over. And your hand won't necessarily be dry, but it's neoprene, just like pogie. And your hands will stay warm inside here. And the other thing, the reasons why I have this broken down already is not the handles obviously, but the other longer sections I use as my center pole for my tarp. This I cut away from an old pair of trekking poles. Unfortunately, the diameter just fits perfectly, and I can just make a much longer section and just tighten that up right on there, and put the other one in, and I've got my center pole for my top. And this weighs nothing. This weighs a few grams. So that's that. I see MLD Profit. I've been very happy with that. It is frameless, 48 liters, I believe. The Dyneema X is not waterproof, but it does shake off water pretty well. The bags inside are waterproof. The camera bag, the Aqua Pack, wherever that is, and Pacer poles. I've been very, very happy with Pacer poles. Again, they're not cheap, they're not light, but as I get older, I got to think about, I'm trying to get another 25 years of hiking in, so making adjustments like this, I think, is going to help that. All right, Gear Talk is done for day 5. Okay, worst segment of the day. This will be a quick one. I know I'm getting close to the end, so my thoughts are kind of jumping forward to what will be coming the rest of my trip. And of course with me, that man, I thought about some pubs and pints. And the pint that's sticking in my mind is Duker's IPA. I was thinking Duker's IPA. There'll be a pub in Fort William that has Duker's IPA. And as the day went on, I realized that I have a beer worm stuck in my head. And I'm sure beer worm's probably been used in that context before, but I should probably look into copywriting that. But that's it. Worst segment of the way is done. Okay, West Highland Way Day 5 wrap-up. What can I say? It was another wonderful day. I broke down my campsite on the moss at the Bar Bridge. As I walked from there towards Blackrock Cottage, I finally crossed paths with David Balfour and Alan Breck Stewart. Saw Blackrock Cottage. I saw King's House Hotel. Went up, conquered the Devil's Staircase. Again, it's tough, but it's, you know, it's really short. And then came on down, and I'm now here in the villages. There's 2 of them, Kinlochleven and Kinlochmore. That's the River Leven behind me feeding Loch Leven, hence the name of the village, Kinlochleven, head of Loch Leven. I'm now going to sit down and just plan out the number of miles I have left to Fort William. I could probably do the remainder of the walk in one day, but why? I have 2 days, and my luggage is not going to arrive at the B&B in Fort William until 2 days from now. So I might as well kind of take it easy and enjoy it. I'm about to set up camp, and I'm ready to call it night. Thanks for watching.